Hi, everybody. Welcome to my podcast. This is The Power of Not Knowing. I'm Sterling, and this is the first episode of my podcast. So, I originally recorded this, and my video froze on the frame, on just this random frame after 2 minutes. So, I was like, let me just re record it. The first episode was a little all over the place anyway, and also I got my little nerves out from the first one. I'm gonna explain what this podcast is about. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself. Side note, I'm not used to talking into a microphone, so for some reason the past time when I recorded this, it's hard for me to breathe. I don't know how to explain it. I think it's because I can hear myself breathing, that I'm like holding my breath and I feel more out of breath. But I promise I work out, and it just sounds like I'm winded, like I just ran up some stairs. So I'm sorry in advance if you can hear my loud breathing. I will figure it out as time goes on. Okay. That was just a little disclaimer because literally it's been like a minute and I can already hear myself getting out of breath. Maybe I can edit it out. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, I'm Sterling. I've been wanting to start a podcast for the longest time, but I have struggled so much with perfectionism and this fear of putting myself out there and this fear of not knowing what could come of it, or this imposter syndrome of I'm so young, I don't know what I'm talking about, no one's gonna listen to me, blah 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 blah. A lot of us struggle with this. So I have always wanted to do this. I've put it off. I recently was like, you know what, I feel like this could feel purposeful and fulfilling if I did it. So yeah, I'm gonna come out with episodes every week, and this is the introduction, so I'm gonna tell you the name and how I thought of it, gonna explain who I am, also I'm gonna explain some topics that are also gonna be discussed. And yeah, I feel like as time goes on, I will be less anxious about this. My heart is literally pounding for no reason. I'm literally talking to myself. But yeah, so anyway, I came up with this name. I have a notebook that my friends got me, and I decided to try to be more creative this year. And it's been a lot of fun to try to push myself and be uncomfortable, such as putting myself out on social media more because I struggle with it. And yeah, the idea of being creative, I never realized how much fun it is and how challenging it is. So when I thought of the idea to start a podcast, my perfectionism definitely got in the way. I was like, oh, I need all the equipment, I need a microphone, I can't just I just kept putting it off until I had everything perfect. But then I realized, I was like, you know what, you're never going to start. You just need to do the thing, and you're going to learn as you go. So I only thought of one name when I was thinking of the podcast, and it stuck with me, and I literally had no other option, no other ideas. So yeah, the title is obviously The Power of Not Knowing. And basically the idea of this is, a lot of times, this is an example, we tend to get stuck in this mode of feeling this fear of being uncomfortable and making a decision, and you have this tug on your heart that you really know that this is something that you want to do, even if it's for fun or if it means something bigger than that. And a lot of times we stop ourselves and we get so terrified of what the end result is that we can't even start. And so That is the power of not knowing. Like, there's so much power in feeling fear, and there's so much power in being uncomfortable, and you don't need to know the end result. Like, you don't need to know every little thing that's going to happen. I feel like there's so much power in knowing that you don't have to have it all figured out, and life's going to move on, and there's so much growth in that. We tend to get stuck. And okay, so through this podcast, I see the reason why I wanted to start this podcast is because a lot of times I see on social media like this perfect life of everyone. And I mean, I'm the same way. If I post something on social media, I'm not going to post the shitty moments, like I'm not. It's so natural for us to want to post this, like, anytime we accomplish something or anytime life's going good, like, we're going to show that. We're not going to show the fight we had with our significant other. We're not going to show us literally so sad and anxious, stuck in our room crying. So I wanted to create a space that is very comforting and, like, show the real and raw side. I see so many people show the highlight reels, and a lot of times I look up to a bunch of people. I'm not necessarily following them in the sense of, like, comparing myself. A lot of times I follow people and I'm like, oh yeah, like, they're doing the thing, and it's very, like, motivating and inspiring. But a lot of times you see these people when they're already successful and they already, like, no one has their life figured out. That's one thing. But you see these people on social media and you're like, oh, like, they already have this amazing spouse. They already have this amazing house and car, and it seems like they're not scared financially and, like, all this stuff, that I was like, you know what? My perfectionism gets in the way, and it causes me to want to wait until I am in the career I want, or I'm as successful that I want, or financially stable, or I look the strongest and, like, leanest and blah, 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 and I have it all figured out. But I was like, you know what? I think there is so much power in being real and raw and showing the idea of, oh, I'm on this journey right now. I literally don't know where it's taking me. I'm terrified. Like, right now I'm literally, like, kind of anxious recording this because I don't know. Like, it's not a natural thing, and it's uncomfortable, and I'm going to have to listen back to this and try not to judge myself on what I'm saying, and because I don't have my thoughts together. But yeah, I want this to be a podcast expressing the anxiety that I feel, the literally sad moments of my life where I'm like, what the hell am I doing? So I'm 23, and I figured there are more people that, like, you know how whenever you're going through something and you're like, there's no way no one else is feeling this. There's no way there's someone else literally crying about this random ass thing. But if I could be the one to tell you, that is me. Like, I'm in the same position you are, and I want to express all of these moments that are, like, very uncertain and very scary, and, like, I just want to show that I'm a lost person, and I know many people can relate, and yeah, so I'm so out of breath. Anyway, so yeah, what I want with this podcast is I want to talk about many topics that I struggle with, not necessarily that I've overcome. Of course, I want to share moments of, like, I'm very proud of how far I've come. I'm not, like, dismissing my accomplishments and dismissing all of the progress I have made. I'm so proud of who I am. And of course, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm proud of the decisions I have made and all the growth that all of the uncertainty has gotten me. So I'm continuing to grow, but, like, many topics I struggle with and I want to talk about, not necessarily because I know the answer of them, but because I want to make people feel like, oh, I'm not alone. And I want to make people feel seen and heard. And for some reason, I've always had this tug on my heart since I was younger. I started this YouTube channel when I graduated high school. And I was I miss how naive I was, because I didn't care about how young I was. I didn't care that I literally had no life experience. I was just putting myself out there. But as I grew older, and like, people's opinions meant so much more to me, and it kind of stopped me, and I like lost how naive I used to be. Hence why I haven't continued to put myself out there. So I've always had this tug on my heart to speak up for people who have so much potential. And like I've always been passionate on knowing that so many people have this hidden potential that they don't know about because they're so afraid. And there's so much power in being afraid and still doing it, and like going after that tug on your heart. Like, I don't want to continue ignoring the tug on my heart, whether it mean making a little episode like this every week, but I also want to inspire someone else to push past their limiting beliefs and like know that they are so much potential, and like just to go after whatever makes you excited. Okay, some topics that I want to talk about are many things that I go through, that you probably go through, is like social media and how it's not really real and it's just a highlight reel. I want to talk about not taking a traditional path in life and how that can be very scary. Like, I chose to not go to college, and I want to explain like my journey and stuff, and how it's not for everyone, and like if you want to go, that's cool. I also want to talk about fun memories I've made, and like just share more of who I am with y'all, and just have this be like a FaceTime call and it be super chill. And I want to talk about how my journey into being where I am today. Like, I live in Austin, Texas. I'm from a small town. I didn't know anything when I moved here. I didn't know anyone. And like, I want to show how doing something super uncomfortable, like moving to a new city where you don't know anyone, meeting new people, and putting yourself out there is super powerful. Okay, I just got my notebook because I needed some structure in what I was saying. I was literally all over the place. But yeah, a few of the things I want to talk about and things that I struggle with and I'm working on overcoming, and show you my experience and what I do about it, are like survival mode. Survival mode's a big thing that I've always struggled with. Like, it's very like, you don't know that the world, like, you're going to be okay. So survival mode, being in situations where you're overstimulated, surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded or who push you to grow. That's a big thing I'm dealing with right now. I have so many people in my life that are fucking amazing, but I also have people in my life where I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm growing with them. So perfectionism, social media, escaping the rat race, that's a big one, like following a non-traditional route. I went to college for literally, I will explain more into this, but I went to college for like a week. And I was like, no, that's not for me. And there's so much growth that happened because of that. I have so many people, amazing people in my life, and I would also love to share them with everyone on this podcast because they mean so much to me, and I know that their story could help others. So that would be so cool to share the people in my life that mean so much, and like, I'm so proud of them and I look up to them. So I would love to have guests on here. Okay, really quick, a little about me. I am 23 and I live in Austin, Texas. I'll give you some background. So I grew up in a small town. Like, I graduated with like 80 people. Not a lot of people leave that small town or that area. And I just always knew that I never wanted to stay. So I moved out like a week after I graduated. Did I know what I was going to do? No. But I moved out. I went to college. Didn't like it. I was dating someone for about like 4 years throughout high school and in college for a bit. And then life kind of like life kind of happened, and we broke up, and I thought I was going to marry this person. I thought I was going to be with him forever because I was just so naive and I didn't know who I was or about life. But yeah, it ended up not working, and I was terrified. I just was in this relationship because I was so comfortable and I was terrified. And I ended up getting one of my friends who I grew up with asked me, like, hey, would you want to move to Austin? And I was like, I don't know anything about Austin. Like, I don't know anyone there. So I was like, you know what? Yeah. And was I scared? Yes. So we literally pack up, move a month later. And I'm going to tell this story really quick because this is like a prime example of the power of not knowing. So the first day we move here, I'm sitting in Carson's car. I go with her because she has a job interview. And I'm just like, okay. So we go to the job interview, and I'm pretty sure she doesn't know this, but I'm sitting in her car, and I'm like bawling my eyes out while she's in this job interview because I'm like, what am I doing? I don't have money. I don't have a job. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know anyone here. I don't have a job interview. Like, I'm really moving to this city with nothing, and she has a job interview, and I'm just crying so much. But then there's so much power in it. There's so much power in being so afraid. And so yeah, I moved here, and then I got a little job. Everything worked out, and then I decided to go to this gym. One day I was like, you know what? I need a hobby. I need to meet people. My camera's gonna die. Oh my god. Okay, I will finish recording this when my camera is alive. Okay, I ended up charging my camera, going to lunch, taking a nap, and now I'm back to finish the end of the episode. And if you can hear my dog chewing on something in the back, it's because she's chewing on her toy, and Eric's in the living room playing video games. But I don't think you can hear it. It's also much darker than earlier, but I don't remember what I was last saying. I think I was talking about, so I was crying in Carson's car, and then I didn't know what I was going to do when I moved here. About a month later, I was like, okay, I need a hobby. I need to start trying to meet people because right now I'm just working and I haven't met a single person other than my roommates. So, yeah, I was thinking about this and I was like, oh, I should mention this in this first episode to show like the power of not knowing what things are going to turn out to, what's going to happen when you try new things and you're so scared. So I was scared to move here. I was scared to, one of my friends wouldn't stop talking about boxing. I've never tried boxing, and I knew I needed a hobby, and I knew I needed to meet people. So I just Googled boxing gyms in Austin, and there was one like 5 minutes from my house, and I was terrified to go. I didn't know how to jump rope. I didn't know what a jab was. I didn't know one person at the gym. So I just decided to suck it up and just go. And I can talk more about all of my like boxing and Muay Thai journey. But here we are like 3 years later, and I am dating someone who was my coach, who I would have never met if I didn't go to the gym. I'm living with him. I have met so many amazing people who own their own businesses, who are prime examples of people I aspire to be and I look up to, and they're amazing. I'm learning from them constantly. I competed for the first time last year just to get experience, and I got to go through a fight camp, and I'm also going to make an episode about that because there was a lot of growth through that. But yeah, here I am 2 years later with amazing people in my life, all because I decided to try something that was scary and I didn't need to know all of the answers. And there was so much fear in not knowing what was going to come out of it. You can hear Lily in the background. Also, I do want to make this podcast a very like safe space where I can talk about random stupid stuff. It's not all serious, and it's also not like you have to sit here and pay attention to it 24/7. I like podcasts like that when people are just kind of like it's like a FaceTime call, and it's not really like you have to sit here and take notes and do all this stuff. But I plan on using this, whether anyone listens or if it's just my mom. That's totally okay. I would love to document my journey of putting myself out there and trying to feel purposeful. Like, whether one person listens or multiple people listen, I feel very satisfied with sharing experiences that I've grown from and I've learned from, and I would hope that someone's listening who may be too scared to move to a city, or who may still be in high school and they don't know what they want to do with their life, or who may, like, if it's just my cousins who are like not sure what they want to do. Like, this isn't necessarily for people who have their life figured out. It's for people who feel stuck and lost, and all I can hear is Eric playing his game. Yeah, so I hope through some of the stories of things that I've gone through and people I've met, I can share that with you. I hope I got everything out that I needed to get out, but I'm going to be releasing an episode like every week, because I need to practice being consistent, and it's very fun for me to sit here and film and then go edit, and I will definitely get better of like not breathing so hard into the camera and like having my thoughts more together, and being a little more enthusiastic. I have to get used to hearing myself talk and knowing that someone's going to listen. So it's kind of like, am I saying anything that makes sense? But yeah, it'll get better. Eric, how do you end a podcast? Did I say thank you for listening to and say the name of the podcast? Yeah. Thank you for staying to the end if you did. This is The Power of Not Knowing. Excited to keep recording these episodes and get better and grow into this new little season of life. So yeah, thank you so much, and I will see you next week. Okay, bye.